morning to one and all. This is Dr. P. Lavanya, working as Associate Professor in MBA Department in IARE. So today topic deals regarding markets and what are the definition and nature of markets, types of markets, and at the same way we'll see that how these market structures are defined and what are these structures in case of important components like prices in the market based upon the nature and structures of the market, and the price and output related to the different types of market structures. So first we'll see the introduction relating to the markets, then we'll go one after the other. So first, commonly in the managerial economics or the economics, the one of the important economic activity where the organization or maybe the economy will get money through sales. So in the point of sales, traditionally market plays an important role. So without market means where these buyers and sellers, commonly we have in a saying that market is a place where these buyers and sellers meet physically or maybe in the electronic forms, as we got now e-platforms. So whatever the pattern where these two people, buyers and the seller, meet in exchange of these goods, services or maybe the commodities for a specific price or the specific amount, we commonly used to say as in a market. So, and these markets, first we see the traditional definition regarding what is in a market. So, commonly a market could be defined as the sum total of all the buyers and the sellers in the area or region under consideration. Means the sum total means the total aggregate of buyers who want to purchase a product and sellers who want to sell the goods in a reason or considerations, means under certain considerations or certain conditions in one area or a platform wherever they meet, that will considered as in a market. So these platform or area may be considered certain state, districts, countries, or at any place we can say. We can sell. Doesn't mean that it should be on the land only. Market means maybe we have a traditional markets where these are, where we can see the assemble of goods. But we can have the markets maybe on the water, maybe like shipyard markets. So where we can go and purchased within the way of rivers, seas and others. So nowadays we are having whatever the region, city, place or whatever the area, we are able to find the markets. So traditionally we can say that a place of meeting of buyers and sellers, or we can call like sum total of these buyers and sellers who met at a fixed area, maybe some area, we'll call it as a markets. So here the value, cost and price of items where we are trading or placed in the markets are as for the forces of supply and demand in the market. So we can see that in the market means we identify that buying and selling some economic value. Maybe it relates to some economic value, the cost of the product, the price, so which plays an important roles in the market, and as we have seen, the forces of supply and demand. So market where the determination of the market depends upon what is the demand from the supplier side. Maybe how the buyer is asking, how many units or whatever the buyer asking, demand from the buyer side, and the supplying goods from the seller side, how many units they supplied, at what price. Based upon these demand and supply consideration, the cost and the price of the goods will be varied. So physically we can say like a market may be like a physical entity or maybe virtual. So commonly we can say it's maybe a physical or virtual. Maybe it relates to the national, global or maybe perfect or imperfect. It means whatever the way it is national in the sense related to the one country, international, different nations, maybe global markets as we know, stock, shares, money markets. These are all global markets where the changes will occur globally and buying, selling, everything process will be done in the global aspect. So those type of market we'll call it as in a global markets. And at the same way, as we know, they are perfect and imperfect. So based upon the competitive nature of the size, and based upon the demand and the supply forces, we can say it is a perfect market or imperfect markets. So strategically, this is a common ways how we can say the traditional or the normal definition of the market. But when you comes under strategically or in economical point of view, we can identify that market means it's a group of people and their jobs who are trying to do to make a long-term strategic investment which make more attractive and provides the company with a vision for the future. Means common buying and selling is a normal thing, but when we have strategically things, when nowadays we are going for internationalism, so whatever the product, whatever the thing we want internationally, as these electronic platforms came, maybe e-platforms, e-commerce. So whatever the area, within a couple of days we are able to get the product from whatever the country or whatever the place. So from any place we are able to identify the goods and we are able to get the goods. Like we can say that staying in America, we can get the goods from the India, maybe Hyderabad the biryani can be sent, or maybe the saris, toys, bangles. So whatever, so the particular, maybe as we have the reputation, from there we can get, maybe we can identify the fruits from the different Simla apples, Kashmir apples. Those are also being transferred to the different nation. When we go America, Canada, we are able to find. Means here, whatever the group of people, means it's a company or an activity where the people involved in their job and trying to done make for long-term strategic investment. So their activity is the work is to develop a market such that their investments are more attractive and providing to fulfill the vision. Means what is the long-term vision of the company is to achieve more and more profits. Strategically, the investment decision involves in having some planning. So having a very good tactical and planning. At the future, we want to invest less and get more profits. So that's every company wants a larger amount of the profits. So that we can identify, or that feature we can satisfy while defining these markets. So this we can say like analytically and strategically we can define the markets. So when you comes under the description of different types of market, so there are based upon the availability, nature and action of the people, maybe the buyers, sellers. So based upon them, the markets will be differ. So we see some sort of classifications or some sort of types in the below discussion. So here we'll call a market is called when a available market. So what is an available market? So when all the people in certain area who can freely get, or they can go and easily identify the product, that we'll call as available markets. Means we can no need to go or no need to make a lot of stress to find out. So these are common, or we'll call as a minimum market where we regularly doesn't do any effort. So simply, for example, if I want a vegetable market, simply we go to the place where the market exists, or if you ask anybody, then we can easily find out the vegetables market, maybe the supermarkets, grocery markets. So these are common and minimum in size, and where without any making a lot of efforts we can able to identify our goods. That type of markets where we are available in certain areas, we'll call it like an available market. And this is the market where we can say it is the lowest sales. Means available markets are the common sales without any action or without anything, any planning strategically. Commonly the people go and purchase whatever they require. So here these type of markets where the company side, when we observe in company side, common sales will have, means maximum sales. No need to make any sort of planning, or no need to make any sorts of efforts. Without any action only, commonly we'll sell certain amount of the goods, means particular point of goods. That type of availability of the goods in the market, we'll call it as a available markets. And Now we can say today's world it is the level is shrinking, means very less lowering, shrinking in the sense. Why? Because people are not at all interested in getting available, so all are in a strategic way. Some maybe want the goods maybe in case of health point of view, some maybe want monetary point of view. So based upon their changing natures, so these available markets are very very less. Why? Because before COVID, when we observed that people were very much rushed to these grocery markets, vegetables market to get those goods from the market by observing, enhancing the goods or looking or maintenance. But now after the COVID, when these e-platforms came, maybe we say Big Basket, maybe these many other, maybe Flipkart and all others. So e-platforms came, maybe for groceries, maybe for clothing and all other. So people are not at all rushing to that available markets. So they are keeping based upon their need requirement, they are ordering their goods. That's why we can say these available markets means going, getting means minimum amount what we can say, that type of markets was decreasing or shrinking. And another type of markets where we can say like market potentialities. So it is the maximum market means potential. How far I can grasp, that is maximum how I can sell or inputted my goods or force my goods into the market. That the maximum efforts I'll make, based upon that the goods will be sold in the markets. So when these are subjected, so the greatest markets or these potential markets where the company or organization will use some action, means some planning, some careful strategic actions will be taken by giving ads, maybe by giving advertisement through publicities. So different ways. So they are attracting people or maybe providing some sorts of discount. So due to some actions, so maximum we are making the goods to be sold. So that type of markets where due to the action of the company, the maximum potentiality, more goods we are selling. So that type we can call it like a market potentialities. So the market potentialities is therefore the upper limits of the marketplace and sales. So available markets is a common where we can't go any sort of efforts. But when it comes for the market potentiality, where organization has to do the effort such that it will be at upper place, means in the profit range, it will get more amount of the profits. So along with that, we'll see what is the nature of the market. So the nature of the markets, commonly we can say that by the important determinants or the important thing in the market may be like supply and demand for every product or every market. So based upon the goods supplied and demanded from the market. So based upon these two forces, the nature of the markets will be differs. So prices are established and buyers and sellers use the signals and incentive to the each others. So as I said that the demand and supply commission. For example, we know that already we have seen that demand curve will be upward sloping, that is DD. We'll call like a demand curve. Always it will be upwards. And why it was upwards? As price increases, demand decreases. Means if price is 10, the demand will be less. If price decreases, demand will increase. So when you have identified in case of this, yes, the supply curve will be downwards. Means as there is a more price, the producers want to produce more goods such that they want to get more profits from the market. So when the price is less, they doesn't feel as an incentive, or the producer will not feel it is getting very less profits. So he was not in an enthusiastic prepare or produce the more amount of goods. So here the demand curve, supply curve will be downwards. So here you are playing, that is here the market will be played where this demand and the supply meets, that is the market demand. So here one and another, buyers, sellers both gives the signals to the market and incentivized each other in order to determine the nature of the market. Here markets could be involved like maybe face-to-face dealing, buying and selling, or maybe already I have told that like in a electronic media. So we see some of the important that is nature on what forces along with the supply and demand these market will be dependent. So this nature of markets will involves in identifying the customers and wants. So the market, when you want to see the supply and demand conditions, 100% we identify who are my customers. So whatever they require, they need and wants. So once regarding their taste, fashions, requirements, when we identify, then we can perfectly the supply could be identified. So how much based upon their demand we are able to supply the goods. So the main important determinants for the nature of the market is we should identify the customer needs, requirements or the like taste and preferences. And second one we can say like developing products that those needs promotes the product. Means relating to the marketing structures or the marketing where we ourselves has to develop the products. Once identify the need of the consumer or the customer, yes, something he want a better product, then I should develop the product and satisfy the consumer or the customer. So that's why the nature of the markets will depends upon how you are developing a product, which needs promotes that product. Means the customer need and requirement according to whose needs we prepare the product, and at the same way we ourselves has to promote that product. Yes, that the market want these type of products, so we are there, we are giving this type of product. Maybe we can identify that today days always all are going towards organic vegetables, organic products, so they're going back. So once when I advertise that I'm producing in an organic manner and these are the goods here, then the customer will come. So one point of view is that one, we produce the goods based on the requirement, and promoting that product or telling to the customer is also very much important. And after that the nature of the markets also depends upon the pricing of the requirement. Means correct or appropriate pricing should be done. So we should consider regarding to the competitors and the competing strategies. Then we can competitor strategy and then we can price it properly. So so we can say these are the three important nature or the identifying that market involves or markets involves in these three important items. That is the nature of the markets could be identified by identifying the customer need and wants and developing those product and also promoting them and pricing them accurately or perfectly. So this is all a dynamic or changing process. It is in a continuously dynamic and changing process. But this dynamic and changing process always requires a constant monitoring and adjustment. Why? Because the external environment is always changing. So market's nature could be changed based upon the consumer need changes, requirement changes, supply conditions changes. So that's why the markets always, we should involve those markets in requiring them to monitoring what is changing there, that we should be upgraded and adjustment ourselves or our product to that changing conditions. So this is the nature of the markets what we can identify. Then after that we'll see that what are the characteristics of a market. So the characteristics of a market comes under the different thing, like the first important characteristic is area. So in economics traditionally we means the place or the region where these buyers and sellers will come or potentially they will be there. So the communication or the transportation between at one place is one of the important characteristics. Maybe online also we are able to see the platform. So which platform? Big Basket we are getting, or maybe another vegetables, some vegetables platforms are there 2 or 3, and maybe we have like Flipkarts, next Amazon. So different. So which platform means what is an area? Here traditionally the place or the transportation or the spreading of the place, we can call it like an area. Now we can say like a platform. Area means where we are available or where we can get that product or goods. So the first important one is the area where that goods are getting or available to us. And the next one is commodity. So in economics, market is related to the place but not to a particular commodity. Here we can say that only a particular commodity available here is not at all considered in the market. All types of commodity may be separated. Maybe we'll see that separate markets, vegetable markets, groceries markets and all others. But now when you comes like supermarkets, larger supermarkets, maybe where you can identify all are at one place. Maybe groceries we are having, maybe we are having vegetables, at the same way clothes, furniture, everything. So like this, the place where this purchasing and selling of goods will be there, but we can't say it is related to the only one particular commodity. Hence, there are number of commodities where we can get it in a one place, or sometimes we can get in a separate markets for each and every commodity. And the next one is buyers and sellers. Another important characteristic is in the market compulsory there must and should be a buyer and a seller. Without these purchase and the sale of the goods, we can't consider the market. So in the modern era, we can see that buyers, sellers are not necessary in the means not necessary to meet in the market, because the transaction is done maybe through emails, business representatives, intents, means orders could be placed. So that's why where we can get our products to required or ordered place. So maybe the meeting at one platform is not considered, but buyer and sellers must and should be constituted in a market. And the next one is free competition. So where you can identify that among the buyers and the sellers, there must and should be a free competition. So it relates to the price determination of the product, or maybe among the transportation, methods of selling, promotional activities, whatever may be, the competition should be free. But it should not be like rivalry or maybe cutthroat competition should not be existed. And the next important one is the price. So the price of the product is in a same in the market because of the free competition among the buyers and sellers. So in one market, the purchasing price will be the same. At one market only, the prices will not be differ from one to the other. So these are the some of the characteristic features relating to the markets. Now we can see that what is called as a market structure. So a market structure is refers like the basic pattern, or we can say like a product refers to the reason or the buyer where the sellers of that product are spreaded. Means when I referred one product, so how many the spreading of the area, or there is some free competition among one price of the products prevails in the entire region. So structures in the sense we can say based upon this structure, we can identify that marketing of a product that relates to the how the buyers and sellers are spreaded, means scattered in one area or an entire period. So when these buyers and sellers are the scattered at a different areas, so based upon the competition, we can go for structuring of the markets. So actually what is a market structure is referring is based upon the nature and the degree of the competition in the goods and the marketing of goods and services. Means the marketing structure. So the type of the competition, mainly we can say when buyers and sellers are scattered at a different places, then we can say that mainly the market structure is based upon the competition relating to the goods and services. So the structures of the market, both for goods and services, are determined by the nature of the competition prevail in a particular market, means particular place or the particular area. Then that based upon that reason, we can go for what type of competition prevailing there, and we can decide the market structure. So, what are the determinants of these market structures? So, primarily we'll see there are the number of things. So, based upon the nature, area and other things, we have a lot of things where you can determine the market structures. But there are some of the important ingredients like the determinants are the number and the nature of the sellers, the number and the nature of the buyers, and the conditions which will afford make to entry and exist from the market, and economies of scales. So we have different types of determinants. We'll see one and the other. So the first one is number and nature of the sellers. Market structure could be identified based upon the nature of the seller. So then how many sellers are there, or what type of competition they are facing, based upon that we can divide or we can go for structuring of the market. So the range, by saying that we have number of sellers selling the same type of goods and others, so then we'll call it like a perfect competition. When there is only one seller, single seller, then we'll call it as a monopoly market. When any product where the sellers are selling one or two, only two, when more than one, that is two are there, then we'll call it as a duopoly. And when few sellers, not one or two, so minimum few, 5, 6 means only few sellers are there coming together and selling a product at a certain area, then we'll call them as an oligopoly. And when people are selling different products, maybe the product is common, utilization purpose, but they are having differentiated features, then we'll call it as monopolistic or differentiated products. Means the number of the sellers, we can divide the competitive market structure. Yes. And number of the buyers, second one. So based upon the market structures which are influencing by the number and the nature of the buyers in the market, we can divide. So when there is a single buyer for any product, when there is a single buyer in the market, then he is called buyer's monopoly. Means single buyer, single seller will call monopoly. Only one buyer is called, we'll call it as a single buyer or single monopoly or monopoly. That is monopoly. Means only one person is to purchase a product. So like that product, that is monopoly product or the monopoly buyer, then we can call like monopoly. Next, when the market existing for a local labor employed or maybe one large employer, means for these single buyers, maybe like local structure. So one person is there when we are hiring the people, maybe labor and other. That conditions we can call like a single buyer, that is monopoly. Maybe for hiring of local laborers in the employment process. And when there are two buyers in the market, then it is called as duopoly market. It means dual. Two persons will be there who will purchase the product from outside. Maybe like in village areas or the city outskirts where we can identify these type of products, where a few people, one or two will be organized to purchase. So this type is known as oligopoly. Means if two are there, it is duopoly. When few, already I told, when few sellers are there, it is called oligopoly. So when few buyers are there, then we'll call it as oligopoly. And this duopoly or oligopoly, where we can identify only in restricted items or the restricted product. Commonly we can see in agricultural sector in case of harvesting of the crop. Maybe some people will go, one or two or few people to purchase the product from the agriculturist, maybe the farmers, like in sugar crop harvesting, or the local factories purchasing raw material from these agriculturist farmers or any other. So in these cases we can identify these duopoly and oligopoly. So based upon them also we can categorize the structure of the markets. And the next another important determinants is nature of the product. So based upon the nature of the product we can determine the market structures. So the product is differentiated. When the product is close substitutes, then it is characterized by the monopolistic markets. Means when the product is having utilized for one purpose, but it is having a close substitutes. Yes. So then that type of products we'll call it as a monopolistic markets. And on the other hand, if the product is having no product differentiation and market is characterized by the perfect competition, means similar, same, there will not be any differentiation. Totally, the price, quality, cost, everything will be same. When that type of products are placed, that market will call it as a perfect competition. And if a product is completely different from other products, means there is no close substitutes and only one product will be there, then we'll consider it as a pure monopoly markets. So based upon the nature of the product also, we can go for the structurization of the markets. Next one, entry and exit conditions. So how many organizations or how many sellers are ready to dump my product into the market? So how many products are going out of the market? They don't want to sell or they don't want to produce. So these entry and exit conditions. Commonly these type of entry and exit conditions depends upon the profitability and the loss conditions. Means if any market is giving or product is giving attractive profits, gaining more. Sometimes we'll see the vegetable markets, maybe last we can see like tomatoes or other, where they gained more profits. So they are scarce, demand increased, and the people or the farmers who produce these onions or tomatoes, they gained more. So many people are attracted and produce these onions and tomatoes. Once again, the price has been fall. So the market attracts when there is a giving more profits, then the seller will be attracted and he want to enter in order to enjoy that profit. Then the same way when the market or the product is leading to losses, maybe the many people produced already regarding onions or tomatoes, where when by attracting the profits of scarcity of this production, now many people produced the onions and tomatoes. Automatically lot of supply comes. If supply is more, the price will decreases. Then automatically profits will weak or decreases, which says the exit conditions. No, I am not getting enough profits. I am getting losses. Then I don't want to sell the goods. Then that is called as an exit. Means based upon this profitability and the loss, we can have these enter and exit conditions. So this we can verify like in the perfect market conditions where they are free. Already I told perfect market means there is similar goods in all ways, cost, quality, profits, everything is perfect. So in these we have the entry or exit will be free. If I like, I'll sell the goods. If I don't like, I don't want to go to or sell my goods. But in case of monopoly or oligopoly markets, there are some barriers for entry and exit. So usually these type of barriers will be accommodated or provided by the government, where the monopoly itself was in public utility services. Means we can see mainly in case of power. So government is only the power supplier in India. So no private organization may be producing the power but not supplying to the people directly. They are selling the power to government. So like road transportation or some types of power supply where new people are restricted and entry barriers will be there. And in type of oligopoly markets, oligo means a few people coming together, there are barriers to entry into the firm because of collusion, tactical agreements, cartels, etc. Means there are only few people of producing. So if many people comes, automatically the profits will lead to the losses and they people will collide in the price, and they have some sort of different tactical means strategic agreements they used to have. So licensing and other franchising, so they require some sort of formalities also. So that's why here the barriers is also some sort of difficult in case of oligopoly. And on another hand, we can see that there are no restriction in entry or exit. Maybe in case of monopolistic product, means differentiated products. As I said that monopolistic product means it is in a differentiated. Close substitutes, but it is different, but used for the same purpose. So like that, maybe we'll see the drinking water bottles. We can take water in a plastic water bottle, steel water bottle, copper water bottle. Here it is a monopolistic product. Based upon our requirement, we are using that water bottle. So in that case, we doesn't have any entry or existing restrictions. So we can consider here. So related to the entry and exiting is also one of the way where we can identify the market structures. And the next one comes under the economies of the scale. So already we have seen in the last videos what is in economies of the scale means advantages what an organization was enjoying when it was going for large scale of production. So when I compared with other industries or the other things, when myself was enjoying when I increased my production, automatically some sort of internal and external economies will be there, and that advantages I will enjoy. With that, I am able to gather the more amount of profits. So sometimes they tend to be weakened out other firms, and as a result that a few firms left competent with each other. So this leads to the emergency of oligopolies. Means sometimes by other organization large production will weakens the small scale organization where they are unable to sell or compete with the large production, and it maybe comes like an oligopoly market structure. So the only one firm attaining the economies of scales such a larger extent it is able to make the entire market, then it will consider as a monopoly. Means the oligopoly itself will be converted when few are there, but in that one firm has started in large scale production and giving very cheapest goods to the public and public are interested, other firms will be eliminated. Once they are eliminated, automatically we will consider that largest firm as a monopoly firm. So the economies of the scale sometimes also decides this market structure. So these are the different determinants which will determine the market structure for a particular goods. Now we'll see what are the different forms of market structures. Already in the above we have comes under explaining that based upon the single seller we call monopoly, when two are there duopoly, so like that we have done. So by competitive nature and existing marketing conditions, the market structures they themselves has been divided into perfect competition, second one monopoly, third one duopoly, fourth one oligopoly, and another one is monopolistic competition. So the nature and competitive nature of the markets gives the market structures. So based upon that, these market structure was divided once again into monopoly, oligopoly, perfect market, competitive markets, and also duopoly markets. So in our next video, we'll see clearly how these each market structure, maybe in perfect competition, monopoly, oligo, monopolistic. So what are their determinants and output determination? Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.